Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So I was chatting to one of the guys in Discord today, and we started talking about the future of motorsport and when will the switch be to electric power. So at the moment, the most prevalent electrically powered race series in the world is Formula E. Now, obviously, Formula E started only a few years ago, and I want to know how close they are to their kind of petrol powered equivalent. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this car, the VRC Formula Lithium, out on a track and set a lap time, and then try and beat that lap time with a series of increasingly faster petrol cars. So they're all going to be open wheel kind of downforcey cars just to make things relatively similar. And it's going to be interesting to see how this Formula E car performs compared to its petrol powered counterparts. But before we do that, if you guys are enjoying the videos, if you guys like the content that I'm making, don't forget to hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification as well, and of course have a look in the description as well, because I now have an Amazon affiliate link, which means that you guys can go and do your normal Amazon shopping, and if you go onto Amazon via my link, I get a little bit of money back from Amazon just to help kind of keep the lights on and keep the channel running. So here we are driving the VRC Formula Lithium car, which is their attempt at a Formula E car. This is the Gen 2 Formula E car, and before we get much further, I'm actually at Portimao, which the reason I'm at Portimao is because I haven't really driven this track very much, so I could do with learning it a little bit, and the track limits are exceptionally harsh, so it kind of keeps me in check in terms of running laps. Now, one of the first things you'll notice about this car is that it's run on treaded tyres. They're a controlled tyre for the series, so everybody uses them, and they're made by Michelin, and it's essentially to try and sell more tyres, which of course every tyre manufacturer that goes into motorsport is trying to sell more tyres. That's a very kind of obvious thing to say, but here's the thing. With these control tyres, Michelin is actually directly developing their road tyres, and it is much less of a leap than, say, for example, a full race sleek. I can guarantee you that the road car equivalent of these Formula E tyres will be much, much closer than, for example, a Pirelli P0, which is the equivalent slick tyre on a Formula 1 car. So there we go, we'll just hit push to pass. So we do have what Formula E call attack mode, and so we're going to use that and just see what kind of lap time we can come out with as we head down to the first corner and just try and get the car slowed down. I don't have a great deal of faith in the back end of this car. Obviously, like I say, we are on treaded tyres, so you can't throw it in as much as you can on slicks. We try and just get as nice a exit as possible. And like I say, with Formula E, it's quite an interesting car to drive. It's quite difficult actually, because you can't really, or at least I find it very difficult to form any kind of reference in terms of how fast you're entering corners. It's all through braking points and markers on track, which is what you should be doing, but you're obviously using the sound of the engine to check how fast you're going into corners. So you do have to be a little bit careful. I have done a few laps of practice and actually found myself overshooting corners just by not knowing, and I think I'm gonna yeah, that's it, that's exactly what I was talking about. I managed to pull that one back, but I managed to kind of overshoot corners just by not really knowing how fast I'm going. Oh, I forget to change gear, and obviously this car only has 2 gears, so it's a bit different in terms of gear selection. So there we go, we're heading towards the line now, and that is a 1:44.6. So 1:44.6 there. I'm going to jump in a couple of other cars, see what sort of time I do around this track in a conventional petrol-powered car. So we're now out in the Tartus FA01. Now, this is something that pops up in Assetto Corsa every now and then, and this is because it's in there and it's a lot of fun to drive. These things are big old slick tyres, wings front and back, and it actually ran in the Formula Bath Championship in Italy, I believe, and immediately carrying way more speed through that first corner. But yeah, like I say, the big old slick tyres make a massive difference, and I suspect that actually one of the reasons for Formula E using treaded tyres is actually rolling resistance. What you've got to remember is that everything with Formula E is a regeneration game. Everything is all about energy, so it's all about conserving that battery life. Obviously the battery's incredibly heavy, so the less battery they can get away with, the better. And obviously Formula E kind of laughed at a little bit actually in the first few seasons, because of the fact that the cars actually couldn't do a full race. They the drivers had to come in, leap out of the car, run to a second car, and then continue with their race, which, to be honest, was a little bit laughable. And so the car that I just drove was VRC's attempt at a Gen 2 Formula E car, and basically what that means is that it now has a greater battery capacity and regenerative braking, so it would regenerate energy on whilst it's braking. So there we go, that's the end of our flying lap in the Tartus, and that's, like I say, equivalent to a Formula 4 car, and that's a 1:51.5. So a bit of time to find, but what you've got to remember is that this car has about half the horsepower of a Formula E car. So this car has about 180, 190 horsepower, so just over half the horsepower, but an awful lot more error, and we're going to get onto that in a moment. So let's go and find something slightly more powerful. So here we are in the RSS Formula 3 car. So now this car has a little bit more horsepower than the Formula E car, has slick tyres and DRS, so I think this thing is absolutely gonna annihilate the Formula E car. But let's go out on a lap and see what happens. Yeah, already we're tipping it in, and that's massively faster through there. So this car has about 60 horsepower more, so not a massive amount, but what it does have the advantage of is that it will not run out of fuel, so they can run everything closer to the limit. They can optimize the aerodynamics, they can run, like I say, slick tires, and they can use pretty much as much fuel as they want. Obviously Formula 3 is a spec series as well, so it's fairly equivalent to Formula E in that sense, in that all the teams get a certain amount of car parts and then they are allowed to innovate from there. Actually, I think Formula E has slightly more freedom than Formula 3. But also, I'm really enjoying this Portimao track. Like I say, this Portimao is going to be, for the first time ever, on the Formula 1 calendar in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be real interesting to see how we get on around here. I've got a feeling it's going to produce some very interesting racing, especially with all the undulations that this track has. And one thing we do have with this car is DRS, which doesn't seem to be working, so well, we'll carry on without it. To be honest, that was a 1:43.3, so not that much faster, actually, a little bit slower than I thought it was going to be. But there we go, that's faster than a Formula E car, so let's take one more step up. So here we are in the RSS Formula Hybrid, as we just chuck her into hot lap and see how we get on. Now I've got a feeling that this main straight is going to be a DRS zone, so we'll have the DRS open as we head down to the first corner. And so the RSS Formula Hybrid is what RSS reckon a real Formula 1 car is like, and to be fair, in the hands of capable drivers, myself completely excluded from this, they're actually pretty bang on with the Quick Boys times. Now I'm under no illusions that I'm going to be doing anywhere near the same sort of time as the guys for real. I'm, like I say, not a real racing driver. I'm just a fat man that drives simulators. So we'll head into this and see how we get on. Now obviously this is going to absolutely destroy pretty much anything short of a 919 Evo, but we'll see how much faster this is than Formula E. Oh, as we just get that corner a little bit wrong and just power out of the final corner, head down towards the start-finish straight, keep your foot in, just trust the downforce, up into 8th gear. So there we go, that's a 1:27.6. Like I say, I'm under no illusions that the real Formula 1 drivers in a couple of weeks' time are going to go much faster than me round here. But that does go somewhere in the region of about 15 seconds faster than a Formula E car around the same circuit. And that's the crux of it, really, at the moment. Most motorsport teams will go with the fastest solution, and to be honest, at the moment the fastest solution is still internal combustion engines. Whether that happens in future, what I think will happen, and you heard it here first, is that we will see more and more dependence upon hybrid systems. So more of the power will be coming from the electrical systems of the car and not the petrol engine, and we will see that get to a point where there is a crossover and eventually it will be fully electric cars. And I look forward to that day, actually. I don't buy into all the kind of rubbish. Oh, well, you know, they don't sound very good and they're all whiny and the whining does my head in. So what? The racing's good. The racing is fucking amazing. You like, these guys are hanging it out there every single lap. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been informative and entertaining. Do the fun YouTube stuff. Do me a favor, also check out my Amazon affiliate links in the description below. If you do buy anything on Amazon, then hit one of the links, go in through the shop and do your normal shopping, and I get a little bit of money from Amazon to help support the channel and to help just keep the lights on, and I'd be incredibly appreciative of that. So once again, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.